In the previous episode, Silas impersonated Rebecca and stole the cure from Elijah. While Bonnie caught a glimpse of Silas' true form, the Salvatore brothers locked Elena in the cellar. Meanwhile, Klaus returned to his old home in New Orleans to investigate the witches' conspiracy. Haley is pregnant with Klaus' child, and Klaus, with his brother Elijah by his side, decides to reclaim control over New Orleans. The story picks up where the last episode left off. In Mystic Falls, Damon and Stefan are preparing to take extreme measures to restore Elena's humanity. Damon brings Elena a blood bag laced with vervain. They decide to use pain and despair to force Elena into regaining her humanity. Damon first creates a dream for Elena to experience a normal college life, but it has no effect on her. Caroline tries to reach Elena through friendship, secretly bringing her a small bottle of fresh blood without the Salvatore brothers' knowledge. But Elena shows no gratitude towards Caroline. After drinking the blood, she immediately turns hostile, using vicious words to cut Caroline deeply before suddenly attacking her. Caroline is left with no choice but to snap Elena's neck, though she claims to have given up. Caroline secretly calls Bonnie, hoping that she can use magic to help Elena recover her humanity, but Bonnie refuses.
Okay, Silas doesn't control me anymore, and I think I'll pass on the invite.
Bonnie really didn't have time to deal with Elena. She has been busy dealing with Silas recently. She teamed up with Katherine without telling anyone. Katherine has a tombstone in her possession, which contains the essence of the ancient witch Katsia's blood. Katherine is curious about the tombstone's purpose, but Bonnie refuses to reveal her plans. Silas' mind-reading and illusions are unpredictable, so the fewer people who know, the better.
Okay then, how do I know that you're not him? You don't, but I'm not. And what makes you so sure that I'm not him? Because he can't get into my head anymore, because I am the only one who can see his true face.
Meanwhile, with neither love nor friendship reaching Elena, the Salvatore brothers decide to use pain and fear as their entry points. Damon removes Elena's daylight ring, and Stefan slowly opens the curtains, letting the sunlight scorch Elena, causing her to scream in agony. When Elena spontaneously combusted, Damon promptly put out the fire. The Salvatore brothers repeatedly torture Elena, hoping to provoke some human emotion, even anger, but Elena remains calm, using cruel words to stab at the brothers' hearts. She blamed her love for Damon on the sire bond. She mocks Stefan's hypocrisy, pointing out how he secretly enjoys her suffering while pretending to be sad. The Salvatore brothers continue to torment Elena, her screams echoing through the mansion, leaving Caroline and Matt unable to watch. At that moment, Rebecca arrives uninvited, claiming to help Matt with his studies. This irritates Caroline, who doesn't want Matt getting too close to Rebecca. She's confident she can tutor him better. So Caroline was going home to get her textbooks, but she didn't expect Klaus to come looking for her. He had returned to the town hoping that Caroline would go with him. Caroline is torn, clearly showing she has feelings for him. But then Klaus repeats some of the hurtful words Elena had used to insult Caroline, causing her to become suspicious.
How do you know what Elena said to me in that cell?
Silas drops the act, revealing his true intentions. Bonnie has been avoiding him, and since Caroline recently contacted Bonnie, he demands to know where she is, but Caroline genuinely has no idea. Silas suddenly drove a wooden stake through Caroline's heart. Caroline thought she was dead, but this was actually an illusion created by Silas. Meanwhile, even after countless rounds of sunbathing, Elena remains stubborn and unrepentant, still managing to crack jokes and sow discord between the brothers. The Salvatore brothers were both distressed and helpless. Just then, Elena breaks free from her bindings. She yanks down the entire curtain, exposing herself completely to the sunlight, and in an instant, she becomes a human torch. The Salvatore brothers rush to save her, but Elena just laughs wildly.
You wouldn't do anything to actually hurt me, you just proved that. So what do I really have to be afraid of?
Frustrated, the brothers realize that torturing her further won't make any difference. Damon can't figure it out. When other vampires shut off their humanity, they usually go on a wild feeding spree, but after releasing all that pent-up energy, they eventually turn their humanity back on. Why is Elena being so stubborn? Stefan, always the more perceptive one, offers an explanation. All of Elena's family is dead, and she even burned down her own home. If she turns her humanity back on, the overwhelming flood of pain and grief would drown her, making life unbearable. They need to give Elena a reason to keep living, or else she'll never turn her humanity back on. And what could be more powerful than hatred? The Salvatore brothers both think of the same person. As luck would have it, Katherine was recently dumped by Elijah and desperately needed to vent. and Elena had badmouthed Katherine to Elijah before. The Salvatore brothers finally catch on if they can't wake Elena's love, then they'll ignite her hatred. The moment Katherine and Elena meet, Katherine makes her presence felt. She firmly believes that Elijah dumped her because Elena had spoken badly about her behind her back. Elena retorted, mocking Katherine's selfishness and pointing out that she never truly cares for anyone, which is why she will never earn anyone's genuine love. Katherine is unfazed. She admits that survival often makes it difficult for her to be honest, but she still believes she is 1,000 times better than Elena.
I don't turn it off. I deal with it. You wouldn't last.
The Dark Queen triumphs over the heartless girl. As Katherine leaves, she deliberately leaves the door unlocked. It isn't long before the Salvatore brothers realize that Elena is gone. Katherine is quite pleased with herself. She had already seen through the brothers' little scheme. Rather than restoring Elena's humanity, she preferred to see Elena lose herself and fall into darkness amidst the chaos and bloodshed. Meanwhile, Caroline wakes up to find herself completely unharmed, but Silas' illusion has left her shaken. As she searches for her friends, Matt is the first to find her. Caroline urgently explains that Silas is nearby, and she needs to warn Bonnie. It turns out, Matt was also just a disguise of Silas. Caroline flees in a panic, only to run straight into Klaus' arms.
Find Bonnie or I'll kill the person you love the most.
Terrified, she drives away while frantically calling her mother. Once Caroline gets home, she locks the door immediately, then stops her mother from approaching. She needs to verify her mother's identity. Caroline dials her mom's phone number right in front of her. Silas can transform into her mother's appearance, but it is impossible to have her mother's phone. Meanwhile, a weakened Elena wanders through the woods, searching for prey. She pretends to be a lost girl and finally lures a kind-hearted person to stop and get out of the car. Matt looked at Elena with pity. Seeing that it's Matt, Elena drops the act entirely. Matt is shocked by Elena's cold-heartedness and urgently tries to calm her down. Matt isn't just an old friend, he's also Elena's first love. She once even sacrificed herself to save his life. Hearing Matt's desperate pleas, Elena struggles to suppress her bloodlust. Is this the power of first love? Elena was just teasing her prey.
I'm really hungry.
Caroline keeps trying to call Bonnie but can't get through. And then, to her surprise, Bonnie shows up. Caroline is too scared to open the door, terrified that it might be another one of Silas' tricks. Sheriff Forbes comes out to see what's going on, and Caroline quickly warns her mother not to open the door for Bonnie. Bonnie's expression changes drastically. She's the only one who has seen Silas' true form, and she can see through his illusions. Standing behind Caroline is none other than Silas.
Did you really think you could hide from me, Bonnie?
With Bonnie now revealed, Silas stops tormenting Caroline. It turns out Sheriff Forbes was inside the living room all along. Caroline was just blinded by one of Silas' illusions, which explains why Silas had her mother's phone. Caroline finds her mother barely alive and quickly bites her wrist, trying to feed her mother blood, but Sheriff Forbes, unconscious, can't swallow. Silas threatens Bonnie, demanding she break the barrier to the supernatural purgatory on the upcoming full moon, just 2 days away. Meanwhile, Stefan manages to stop Elena in time. Damon, however, has had enough of this passive approach. Elena is like a spoiled child, completely unafraid of their punishments.
I will give you something to be sad about. I will kill him right here in front of you.
Damon threatens Elena with Matt's life, demanding she turn her humanity back on, but Elena remains indifferent. Convinced Damon is bluffing, without hesitation, Damon snaps Matt's neck. Elena's eyes widen in shock, and even Stefan is stunned by his brother's action. Elena experiences the pain of losing a loved one all over again. When Damon shows her Matt's resurrection ring, Elena is overwhelmed with relief. Damon continues to guide Elena, pushing her to confront her emotions.
You feel that weight lifting off your chest? That's joy. Because your friend isn't dead. That's emotion, Elena. That's humanity.
A single tear falls. Elena finally turns her humanity back on, but the memories of all the terrible things she did flood her mind. She killed a waitress, attacked her closest friends, and nearly turned Matt into a meal. Guilt, disgust, shame, and grief all erupt at once. Elena can't bear to face herself, let alone anyone else. Stefan steps in to help Elena focus on a single emotion strong enough to keep her going.
Strong. It's in there. Just latch onto it. Channel everything you're feeling into that one emotion. Find the thing inside of you that makes you want to live, Elena. Let it in. Let it in.
After a furious outburst, Elena slowly calms down. Damon brought back her humanity, while Stefan helped soothe her pain. Sheriff Forbes couldn't swallow the blood, so Caroline had to use a syringe to transfuse it, saving her mother from the brink of death. Matt also wakes up under the protection of the resurrection ring, with Rebecca at his side the entire time. Learning that Elena has regained her humanity, Matt finally feels a sense of relief. Meanwhile, Katherine and Bonnie strike a deal. The tombstone in Katherine's possession contains the essence of the ancient witch Ketsia's blood. As Ketsia's descendant, Bonnie can use the blood to communicate with her, hoping to learn how to defeat Silas. At the same time, since Ketsia is the creator of the immortality spell, Bonnie promises to help Katherine achieve eternal life.
Bonnie Bennett, we have a deal.
Katherine is the most ambitious vampire of all. Although Elena has regained her humanity, the Salvatore brothers are shocked to discover that she has chosen revenge as her emotional anchor.
It all comes down to her. Katherine.
Elena has gone from one extreme to the other, which the Salvatore brothers did not expect. They take turns trying to reason with Elena, insisting that Katherine isn't worth hating.
Not if I kill her.
Overnight, several patients are found drained of blood, leaving Sheriff Forbes at a loss and forced to call on the Salvatore brothers. Damon and Stefan exchange a look. The brutality and gluttony suggest one thing: the work of Silas, the immortal. Tomorrow night is the full moon, and Silas is clearly stockpiling strength by feeding. Meanwhile, Bonnie plans to open the door to the other side ahead of time to contact Ketsia, hoping to find a way to stop Silas. She draws strength from the 3 different massacre sites to prevent Silas from discovering her plan. Bonnie uses magic to tether Katherine to her, linking their lives together. Katherine is furious but doesn't dare harm Bonnie. As Bonnie casts her spell, a storm sweeps over the town.
It's time to drop the veil.
The unnatural phenomenon draws everyone's attention, and the Salvatore brothers deduce that Bonnie is acting ahead of schedule, based on the triangular pattern on the ritual map. They believe Bonnie is at the school, which lies at the center. Just then, Sheriff Forbes informs them that someone saw Bonnie leaving with Elena, and the brothers immediately realize that must have been Katherine. They head to the school to search. Elena and Caroline arrive there first. When Elena learns that Katherine is nearby, she urges Damon to help her get revenge. But this time, Damon doesn't indulge Elena. He believes that even if she succeeds in her revenge, it won't bring her peace and will only cause her to be consumed by her suppressed emotions once again. Seeing Damon's firm stance, Elena turns violent. If he won't help her, she'll at least make sure he doesn't stand in her way. Meanwhile, Stefan meets up with Caroline, and together they search the school without finding any sign of Bonnie or Katherine. A thought suddenly strikes Stefan: they're in the right place, but at the wrong height. Bonnie and Katherine are hiding in the underground tunnels beneath the school. At this point, Bonnie's spell is nearing its final stage. The blood from the tombstone started to seep out, making Katherine shudder. As the torches ignite by themselves, Bonnie opens her eyes. She has successfully opened the doorway to the other side, but only within the boundaries of the triangular formation. Damon struggled to his feet. He didn't realize Elena would be so ruthless. Just then, a figure appears behind Damon. It's Alaric. Alaric helps Damon pull out the wooden stake, and Damon's first reaction is to suspect that the Alaric in front of him is actually Silas in disguise. But Alaric reaches into a student's locker and pulls out a bottle of whiskey, his secret stash. They share a knowing smile and embrace. Damon suddenly realizes that Bonnie has already opened the doorway to the other side. Alaric explains to Damon that the doorway to the other side isn't fully open. Ghosts can only move around within the town. If they leave the triangular formation, they will revert back to being intangible spirits. A troubling thought occurs to Damon. He's killed quite a few supernatural beings. What if they all come after him seeking revenge? Alaric reassures him that not every ghost has a reason to return to this town. Because of Bonnie's spell, a massive power outage hits the town. Rebecca stays at the bar, hoping to enjoy some alone time with Matt, but an unexpected guest arrives asking for a drink. It turns out to be Cole, the deceased original. Cole helps himself to the liquor, revealing that he's back to avenge himself. Since Jeremy is already dead, he plans to take out his anger on Elena. Matt, a mere mortal, dares to stand up to an original. Out of respect for his sister, Cole punishes Matt with only a minor injury. Meanwhile, Bonnie struggles to summon her ancestor Ketsia, leaving Katherine bored and restless. Suddenly, Katherine hears footsteps. They both assume it's Silas, and Bonnie asks Katherine to stall for time. Unexpectedly, the person who came was Elena. She ambushes Katherine, dealing a devastating blow, and at the same time, Bonnie suffers an injury. Elena, unaware that Bonnie and Katherine's lives are linked, continues to torment Katherine. Luckily, Stefan and Caroline arrive just in time. After learning the truth from Bonnie, Stefan stopped Elena's fatal blow at the last minute. After Rebecca finished tending to Matt's injuries, she found Caroline in the warehouse, slicing her wrists over and over again. If the real Caroline is at the bar, then who is the Caroline currently with Bonnie? Bonnie was frustrated about not being able to reach her ancestor Katsia. Suddenly, Caroline disappeared, and she heard Silas' mocking voice behind her. Bonnie is in disbelief. She has seen Silas' true form before, which should have made it impossible for him to deceive her with illusions again. The grotesque face before her is still not Silas' true appearance. Bonnie has fallen into Silas' trap. Bonnie thought she had gotten rid of Silas' control, but she didn't know that Silas had always been. Amid Silas' constant transformations, Bonnie loses the will to fight. Meanwhile, Stefan lets Katherine go, enraging Elena. Even though Stefan tells her that Bonnie and Katherine's lives are connected, Elena remains defiant and questions why Stefan keeps protecting Katherine. Elena is using hatred to distract herself. But how is that any different from shutting off her emotions? Stefan tells Elena that there are no shortcuts to healing. She has to face her grief. Faced with Stefan's gentle persuasion, Elena angrily threw a punch.
Just like the cinder block. Nothing.
Caroline, still under Silas' hypnosis, continues to harm herself. Rebecca uses a simple, forceful method to snap her out of it. Silas demands that Bonnie fully open the doorway to the other side, but Bonnie resolutely refuses, hoping that Katsia will intervene. Silas tells Bonnie that Katsia would never help her. Even in death, she still loves him, and the reason she created the other side was to be together with him for all eternity. And Silas has always wanted to break the barrier to escape Katsia's grasp. At that moment, Damon's voice echoes through the tunnel. Silas transformed into Alaric's appearance and was ready to deal with Damon first. With just a single thought, he made Bonnie feel like she was suffocating. Even though she knows it's just an illusion, Bonnie is unable to break free, such as the power of Silas, the strongest witch. After Silas leaves, Bonnie's grandmother appears. She guides Bonnie to dispel the illusion, but Bonnie is fearful, thinking it might be another trick from Silas. However, when Bonnie feels her grandmother's breath, she immediately knows it's really her. Bonnie threw herself into her grandmother's arms, feeling both aggrieved and helpless. Her plan had failed, but her grandmother tells her, "You don't need Katsia's help. You're stronger than you think.
You can do this."
Meanwhile, the Silas who is disguised as Alaric finds Damon. Surprisingly, Damon sees through Silas' disguise. He quickly grabs an iron chain and binds Silas tightly. Encouraged by her grandmother, Bonnie casts a petrification spell on Silas. Over 2,000 years ago, Katsia used the same spell to seal Silas away. As Silas' body gradually turns to stone, Damon watches with a shudder. Just before being completely petrified, Silas's true face began to emerge, but he used the last of his strength to cover his face. After failing to get her revenge, Elena went to her brother Jeremy's grave, broke down in tears, and admitted her weakness. She shut off her humanity and obsessed over revenge because she couldn't face reality. Suddenly, someone comforts her from behind.
Hello, old friend. Pity about your brother. Guess it's just me against you now.
Elena may not be a match for an original, but she does not fear death. After Stefan scolds her awake, Elena finds herself without the will to keep going. In the nick of time, an arrow whizzes through the air. Jeremy has finally arrived. Since both are ghosts, they can't truly kill each other, so Cole isn't in a rush to attack. Cole doesn't even finish his threat before Stefan snaps his neck. Elena and Jeremy embrace each other in tears. At her brother's grave, Elena finally fully reconnects with her humanity. Although Silas is now petrified, Bonnie warns the Salvatore brothers that as soon as the statue comes into contact with blood, Silas will revive. The Salvatore brothers plan to bury the statue at sea. Elena also arrived and finally apologized for her past mistakes. Bonnie forgave her, and the two friends reconciled. Jeremy is aware of all that Bonnie has done for him. He sums up his gratitude with a simple thank you. Bonnie has to close the door to the other side. She is very understanding. She lets Jeremy use his last moments to say goodbye to his sister. Elena's awakening brings Stefan a sense of relief.
Welcome back.
With limited time left for the spirits, everyone has someone to bid farewell to, everyone except Stefan. Feeling lonely, he went to the bar and found Caroline there as well. Caroline suggests they raise a glass in celebration, but Stefan isn't in the mood. He had thought that when the gate to the other side opened, there was one person who would definitely come to see him, but she didn't.
You better mean me.
How could Lexi abandon Stefan? Damon isn't in a rush to dispose of Silas' body. He wants to see Alaric off one last time. They drank and chatted in the cemetery, and Damon learned that everything he had said at Alaric's grave had been heard by Alaric. Alaric suddenly remembers something while helping Damon move Silas' body. He found the cure. Alaric hands the cure to Damon, hoping he can use it to pursue love.
The hell am I supposed to do with this?
Get the girl.
Even from the other side, Lexi was always watching over Stefan. She teased him, saying, "Looks like another blonde beauty is about to take my place as your best friend." She's clearly referring to Caroline, but Stefan just pretends not to understand. When Bonnie returns to the tunnels, she doesn't immediately close the doorway to the other side. Instead, she begins setting up another ritual. As she sees Jeremy again, Bonnie realizes she hasn't fully accepted life and death. Facing her grandmother's scolding, Bonnie confidently replies,
I can bring Jeremy back. I can keep him here.
No, you can't!
After defeating Silas, Bonnie feels an unprecedented confidence in her magic. Her grandmother warns her that no matter how powerful she becomes, she should never challenge the natural order. But Bonnie is stubborn. As Bonnie casts the spell, dark veins spread across her skin.
Don't.